If you feel lost right now, the first truth you must accept is this: you did not arrive here by chance. You arrived here by drift, by indecision, by delay, by surrendering your thoughts to outside forces. But you can leave this place of confusion. You can rebuild. In 14 days, by applying the same mental laws that built fortunes, commanded empires, and shaped destiny, you can recover direction, renew faith, and install a mind of clarity and power. But only if you obey the instructions I am about to give you. This is your turning point if you choose to act. You say you are lost. But what is lostness truly? It is not a city you wandered into by mistake. It is not a place on the map. It is a condition of mind, a fog that forms when you have spent too long without direction, too long without decision, too long listening to every voice but your own. It is not that you do not have a future. It is that you have not demanded one. You are not lost. You are adrift. And drifting, as I have written before, is the silent killer of all potential. Drifting is the state of a man who moves without aim. He wakes, but he does not rise. He works, but he does not build. He speaks, but he does not declare. He exists, but he does not live. He is driven not by his own thought, but by the shifting winds of the world. He reads the signs others put before him, listens to their opinions, and turns at every corner someone else commands. This man is the easiest to control. He obeys the strongest voice, not because it is right, but because it is loud. You do not drift because you are weak. You drift because you have never truly decided who you are. You drift because your thoughts were trained to serve the world before they ever served you. You drift because no one ever taught you the laws of the mind, the laws that govern success, decision, action, and identity. But now you know. Now ignorance cannot shield you. The devil, in my interview with him, confessed that drifting is his most powerful weapon. He does not steal men's futures by force. He lets them throw them away by indecision. He does not need violence. He needs only doubt. And he plants that doubt with subtlety. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? The man who listens to these voices will never become the man who speaks with power. If you feel lost, understand this: the feeling is not your enemy. The feeling is a signal. It is the call of your inner self, demanding that you stop, that you face yourself, that you remember who you were before you surrendered. It is the voice that whispers, "There is more to you than this." And you must now choose. Ignore that voice and drift deeper into numbness, or listen and begin the process of reconstruction. The beginning is not grand, it is not public, it is not made with noise. The beginning is made in silence. The beginning is made in the mirror. Sit down, no distractions, no music, no consultation with friends, just you, a sheet of paper, and the honesty you've spent years avoiding. Write down the truth. Where you are, what you've become, and how you got here. Write it all. Write what you fear. Write what you regret. Write what you keep telling yourself in the quiet. Write what you have not told anyone. Write it not to punish yourself, but to free yourself. For a man cannot rebuild until he burns the rubble of his false image. Self-honesty is the fire that purifies. It hurts, but it heals. And until you have faced the truth of who you've become, you will never become who you are meant to be. Let me speak plainly. You cannot build a new life while protecting the excuses of the old one. You cannot be reborn while clinging to the chains of indecision, hesitation, fear, and false humility. Every day that you delay this confrontation, you reinforce the identity of the drifter. But every moment you act in honesty, you return power to yourself. You take one brick from the wall of confusion and use it to build the foundation of direction. You do not need to know your entire future today. You only need to ask one question: what would I pursue if no one could laugh at me? That is the beginning. That question burns away the fear of criticism. That question introduces you to the man within who has been silenced. That question opens the door to purpose. And I tell you now, purpose, no matter how small, is stronger than drift. Even if you cannot yet name your definite chief aim, you must begin to feel its shape. Let it form not by logic alone, but by desire. What do you think about when no one is looking? What would you do if certainty was guaranteed? These are the questions that awaken the builder within. In this first of 14 days, your task is simple, but not easy. You must stop pretending, stop hiding, stop waiting. Take the pen, look yourself in the eyes, and write the truth. Write the mess. Write the dream. Write the regret. Write the rage. Let it all pour onto the page. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of power, for no man can direct a life he has not first understood. When you write, do not censor. Do not correct. Do not explain. You are not writing for others. You are writing to wake yourself up. You are writing to take the reins. You are writing to end the drift. When you have written enough to feel discomfort, write more. That discomfort is the resistance of the old identity dying. Let it die. For only when the old voice is silenced can the new one rise. Now I will give you the first affirmation to speak. Stand tall, shoulders back, head high. Say it with power. Say it with belief, even if belief has not yet returned. Say it because your subconscious mind is always listening, and it obeys the voice that speaks with authority. I was born to decide, to act, to become. Say it again, and again, and again, until it becomes your tone, your rhythm, your command. Let this be the first building block in your new internal world. Repeat it aloud when doubt returns. Write it above your bed. Speak it before sleep and upon waking. Burn it into your mind until it becomes your identity. You must understand something essential. These next 14 days are not about external transformation. They are about internal conquest. You will not fix your circumstances until you fix your commands. You will not rebuild your future until you reconstruct your thinking. The world does not shape your belief. Your belief shapes the world you experience. And so you begin here, with thought, with honesty, with the decision to no longer drift. The man who faces the truth is no longer lost. He is found, not because the world showed him the way, but because he remembered he always had the power to choose. The next 13 days will take you deeper into the disciplines of the successful, but none of them will matter if you do not face yourself now. This is the first test, not of endurance, but of courage. The courage to look, to tell the truth, and to declare, this is not who I will remain. Now begin. The mirror is waiting. The paper is waiting. The man you must become is waiting. Speak the truth. Write the truth. Then speak the new words that will carry you forward. I was born to decide, to act, to become. This is your turning point. No man who possesses a definite chief aim ever wanders far from power. He may be delayed, but never lost. He may be resisted, but never paralyzed. He may be knocked down, but never without direction. Definite purpose is the compass by which all great men navigate the wilderness of life. It is the law that binds desire to discipline, imagination to action, and faith to results. Without a definite aim, a man is no more than a leaf on the wind. He drifts, he bends, he waits. But with a definite aim, he becomes the wind itself. I say it again, vagueness paralyzes. You may feel lost now, not because you lack strength or intelligence, but because your strength has no target and your intelligence has no aim. You have not failed, your clarity has. The mind, like a machine, must be given an instruction. Without it, it spins, it searches, it burns fuel, but produces no progress. And so I tell you, if you wish to rebuild yourself, you must first write what you are building. Your definite chief aim must be clear, not, I want to be successful. That is fog. Not, I want a better life. That is vapor. It must be specific, measurable, time-bound. But most of all, it must be written with emotion. The subconscious mind does not obey logic. It obeys conviction. It does not respond to possibility. It responds to command. And that command must come from you. Take up your paper now. Begin this sentence. My definite chief aim is, and finish it with boldness. Write what you want, not what sounds impressive, not what pleases others, not what is realistic according to the weary masses. Write what sets your inner fire alight. Then write by what date you shall possess it. Then write what you will give in return. Then write how you shall begin. Today, this hour. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Write with force, and clarity will follow. Even if you are unsure whether this aim will remain permanent, write it anyway. A temporary aim pursued with fire creates movement, and movement reveals deeper purpose. The worst condition is not to pursue the wrong goal. The worst condition is to pursue no goal at all. A man can course correct while moving, but the man who waits will rot in the shadow of delay. Let me take you back to the moment that changed the course of my life. I was a young man, ambitious but vague, driven but without direction. Then came the meeting with Andrew Carnegie. He asked me a question. Young man, what is your definite purpose in life? I began to speak, and he stopped me. You have 30 seconds. Answer with conviction, or you are not yet worthy of what I am about to offer you. I froze. I stammered. I had none. That single moment taught me this truth. The man without purpose is unprepared to receive greatness. Carnegie withheld nothing from the man who possessed clear intention, but he withheld everything from the man who was unsure. When I proved I was willing to dedicate my life to finding and organizing the laws of success, he opened the gates. He gave me access to the minds of over 500 of the most successful men in history. But the key was not luck. It was definite purpose. And so I give you the same test. What do you want? What do you burn for? If you do not know, then make it your purpose to find out. But do not remain in limbo. No man who floats will ever fly. Write your purpose, even if it changes. Commit to it, even if it evolves. Let the world shape around your decision, not the other way around. Understand this well. The man with no aim becomes an instrument of other men's purpose. If you do not command your life, someone else will. If you do not write your plan, you will be hired to fulfill another's. This is not theory. It is the nature of man. Those with definiteness lead. Those without follow. And only one of those paths leads to fulfillment, independence, and mastery. These next 14 days are not about comfort. They are about construction. And what builder begins his work without a blueprint? Your written purpose is that blueprint. It will direct your thought. It will structure your day. It will dictate your choices. Every action you take must now be weighed against one question. Does this move me closer to my aim? If it does not, it must be rejected. If it does, it must be repeated. That is the path of the builder. Write your aim now. Do not stop until it is complete. Then read it aloud. Do not whisper. Speak it with full voice. Speak it with command. Let your subconscious hear who is now in charge. Read it every morning. Read it every night. Speak it with emotion, with belief, even before belief is fully formed. Speak it until it becomes your rhythm, your voice, your direction. This aim is not a wish, it is a vow. It is not a dream, it is a decision. From now on, you do not wonder where your life is headed. You have chosen. And if you truly choose, the universe itself will begin to organize around your decision. You will see ideas where before there was fog. You will meet allies where before there were strangers. You will feel power where before there was only confusion. Let no one tell you your aim is too bold. Let no voice suggest that you are not qualified. The world does not respond to qualifications. It responds to commitment. The world does not yield to the timid. It yields to the man who walks as though his aim is already reality. Now say this aloud. Let it mark the moment you stopped drifting and began deciding. I know what I want. I command it with thought, pursue it with action, and hold it in mind until it becomes real. This is no small task. This is the rebuilding of your identity, the reshaping of your habits, the rewriting of your self-image. But it begins here, with one aim, spoken daily, written clearly, pursued relentlessly. Do not underestimate the power of this act. When you write your aim and repeat it with emotion, you are doing what kings and captains and creators have always done. You are claiming dominion over your life. You are breaking free from the trap of hesitation. You are choosing to become instead of merely survive. From this moment forward, you will not say, I don't know what I want. You will say, I know what I want, and I move toward it daily. If your aim evolves, you adjust. But you never again walk without aim. Your chief aim is your center, and a centered man cannot be lost. You have written your chief aim. You have declared what you want. But now the real battle begins, not against the world, but against your own subconscious mind. It is not enough to know what you desire. You must convince your entire being to believe in that desire. And that belief is not installed through wishing, hoping, or intellectual understanding. It is installed through autosuggestion, the act of repeating your aim with emotion until your subconscious accepts it as fact. Autosuggestion is the bridge between your conscious thoughts and the deeper hidden part of your mind that governs your habits, your instincts, your creativity, and your results. You may think you are in control because you think deliberately during the day, but the truth is that your subconscious mind is always at work, 24 hours a day, shaping your reality in the image of what it has been told, most often to believe. It does not judge. It does not evaluate. It only obeys. And if you have allowed it to be fed with doubts, fears, and vague ideas, then it will create a life that reflects exactly that. But this law works in both directions. The same power that can destroy a man through indecision and fear can elevate a man to wealth, purpose, and peace if he seizes control of the messages he allows into his subconscious. And that control begins with repetition. The man who feeds his mind with the same command daily will eventually reprogram his entire being to obey it. That is not superstition. It is law. Every morning and every night, without exception, you must speak your aim aloud. You must read it with feeling, not like a lifeless list of goals, but like a vow. Close your eyes. See it. Feel it. Imagine what it would look like, sound like, feel like, taste like to already possess it. Combine the spoken word with mental image, and then back it with emotional force. Words plus vision plus emotion equals belief. And belief is the most powerful force available to man. Do not mistake this for mere positive thinking. Autosuggestion is not about reciting empty phrases. It is about installing new orders into the control center of your being. When you speak your chief aim with enough conviction over enough days, your subconscious mind begins to take it seriously. It begins to believe that you mean it, and once it believes you, it begins to act through intuition, through creative ideas, through bursts of energy, through sudden courage, where once there was hesitation. This is the law of cosmic habit force. Once a new mental pattern is repeated enough times with sufficient emotion, the subconscious no longer waits for your command. It begins to run the pattern automatically. The same way you once walked in fear without effort, you will now walk in purpose without resistance. It becomes second nature. This is how the successful seem lucky. They are only living in alignment with thoughts they have repeated for years. Take, for example, the rise of Charles M. Schwab. He began as a steelworker, no different from thousands of other men. But inside him was a voice that said, I am not a laborer, I am a leader. While others thought only of surviving the day, Schwab thought of building empires. He spoke his own greatness to himself long before the world agreed. He did not wait for permission. He declared it, acted upon it, and built belief through repetition. Schwab was no different than you, except that he believed in the power of mental law. He wrote what he wanted. He obsessed over it. He recited it. He lived as though it was already so. And eventually, his mind, his habits, and his world bent to the vision he had planted. You must do the same. From this day forward, take your written chief aim and condense it into a short affirmation that contains 3 elements. 1, what you desire. 2, your belief that it shall be yours. And 3, your daily action toward it. Write this sentence. Post it where you can see it. Memorize it. Say it aloud every morning as soon as you wake. Say it again every night before you sleep. You must never let a single day pass without feeding your mind this command. I will give you a model. Speak it now. Speak it with strength. I demand of myself the full attainment of my definite chief aim. I believe I will receive it. I act daily toward it. It shall be mine. Say it again. This time say it with certainty. Say it as though your life depended on it, because it does. The man who does not command his mind will obey the commands of fear. The man who does not speak his aim will hear only the voice of the world. You must become the loudest voice in your head. Let me warn you, this discipline will feel awkward at first. Your old mind will resist. It will say, "This is foolish." It will say, "You don't really believe this yet." That is normal. You are not repeating your affirmation because it is already true. You are repeating it so that it becomes true. You are not trying to deceive yourself. You are training yourself. And remember this, emotion is the fuel. Say your affirmation not like a parrot, but like a prophet. Say it with fire. If you must shout it to feel it, then shout. If you must stand tall and strike your chest to wake up belief, then do so. The subconscious mind responds to feeling more than it does to language. If you repeat your aim like a lifeless duty, it will remain lifeless. But if you speak it with conviction, it will become law. Do not expect instant transformation. You are not casting a spell. You are laying a foundation. Every repetition is one brick. Every emotional declaration is one layer deeper into your subconscious. It may take 10 days. It may take 30. But once the belief sets, you will feel it. You will act differently. You will speak with greater certainty. You will move with more purpose. That is how you will know. The law is now working for you, not against you. And know this, if you neglect this practice, the old rhythms will return. Doubt does not need your permission to speak, but belief needs your effort to stay. That is why I say, morning and night without fail. This is your sacred ritual. This is how you transform the identity of a drifter into the mind of a builder. Now, begin this very day. Write your affirmation. Memorize it. Speak it with your full voice. Speak it as the new law of your being. You are not repeating words. You are issuing orders. You are not begging for success. You are commanding your mind to create it. Say it again. I demand of myself the full attainment of my definite chief aim. I believe I will receive it. I act daily toward it. It shall be mine. This is how faith is built, not by accident, but by design. This is how identity is forged, not by wish, but by will. This is how you begin the process of becoming what you were meant to be, not by chance, but by choice, repeated daily with power. Desire alone is not enough. Faith alone is not enough. Vision, burning as it may be, will fall short unless you possess the power to repeat. For it is repetition, not inspiration, that transforms thought into substance and desire into destiny. Repetition is the law by which all success is built and all failure avoided. It is the force that takes the fleeting spark of decision and forges it into the blazing fire of identity. The man who repeats his chief aim with emotion, visualizes its outcome with clarity, and acts upon it each day with resolve, this man is no longer building hope. He is building habit. And habit, once formed, becomes the internal law by which the mind obeys. In the absence of habit, you will rely on emotion, but emotion is unfaithful. It comes and goes. Habit, once formed, stays. It walks when you feel tired. It speaks when doubt returns. It moves even when your body would rather sleep. These next 14 days are sacred. You are not simply following a routine. You are reconstructing your subconscious mind. You are training your inner self to obey a new pattern, a new command, a new identity. And the price of that transformation is repetition without exception. There can be no skipped days, no surrendered mornings, no delayed action. For each break weakens the rhythm, and it is rhythm, daily, emotional, and precise, that reshapes a man. I now give you your daily formula. Follow it to the letter. Make it law within your life. Let no excuse rise against it. For this formula, repeated with intensity for 14 consecutive days, will do more for your transformation than a year of casual thinking. 1. Read your chief aim aloud. Every morning when you rise and every night before you sleep, read your written aim. Do not skim it. Do not mumble it. Read it aloud, with your full voice, your full posture, your full belief. Speak it with the tone of a man who commands. If you must speak it 10 times to feel it, do so. You are not performing, you are programming. 2. Visualize its fulfillment. Immediately after reading your aim, close your eyes and see it as already fulfilled. See the scene in your mind, the day you have it, the way you walk, the way others look at you, the feeling in your chest. Create this image so clearly that your mind cannot distinguish it from memory. Back this image with emotion. Let your heart quicken. Let your soul rise. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It obeys what is repeated with emotion. 3. Act toward it, even in small ways. Each day you must take at least one action toward your aim. It need not be grand. It need not be perfect. It need only be real. The man who acts imperfectly builds belief. The man who waits for perfect conditions builds paralysis. You must move. Even a single step forward signals to the mind that the aim is not fiction. It is in motion. 4. Reflect on the progress at day's end. Before you retire each night, take your notebook and write. What did I do today to move closer to my aim? What did I think, feel, or say that supported or sabotaged my progress? This reflection is not for guilt. It is for awareness. The subconscious must know you are watching. It must know that progress matters. This is how you begin to install the rhythm of self-command. Let me now speak to you about momentum. Momentum is invisible. It cannot be seen or touched, but it multiplies results without your seeing. The first day of repetition feels clumsy. The second, slightly more fluid. By the 7th, your voice carries more authority. By the 10th, you speak your aim as though it were already yours. But miss one day, and you break the rhythm. The fire dims. Doubt returns. The mind begins to question whether you truly meant what you said. This is why I demand no breaks, not for fatigue, not for busyness, not for discouragement. For each day you repeat your formula, you double your belief. But each day you skip, you cut your power in half. The man who persists for 14 days without failure will experience a mental shift so deep, he will not wish to return to the old version of himself. Understand also the power of small victories. The subconscious mind is not logical, it is emotional. It responds to evidence of progress. Even a single small act, a letter sent, a hard conversation made, a sentence written, a new habit begun, signals to your inner mind that your aim is not merely desire, it is command. Celebrate these victories in your notebook, record them, review them, let them become the proof your belief feeds upon. The man who feels lost often believes that change must come in large, sweeping motions, but I tell you, the greatest transformations come not from sudden explosions of effort, but from sustained repetition of directed effort. A man becomes strong by lifting the same weight every day. A thought becomes belief by repeating the same phrase every day. An aim becomes identity by directing your day around it every day. You must now use your notebook as your temple. This is not a place for scribbles. It is a place for strategy. Record your chief aim. Write your daily actions. Journal your victories and lessons. Write the affirmation that will guide you when fatigue appears. This notebook will become, over 14 days, a written history of your rise from drift to direction. Do not take this lightly. Your mind remembers what you write. Your heart commits to what you track. Now let me give you your affirmation. Stand. Say it aloud. Say it like you mean it. Say it as the man you are becoming. I repeat my aim until it becomes identity. I act daily, and let no excuse speak louder than my decision. Say it again. Feel the weight of those words. There can be no excuse louder than decision. There can be no voice in your life more powerful than your own. Repetition makes it so. Action makes it real. The discipline of daily movement makes it permanent. You are not in the business of occasional effort. You are now in the discipline of daily progress. 14 days, 14 repetitions, 14 victories, one new man. From this point on, let no hour pass in vain. Let no day end without your formula being completed. This is no longer a suggestion. This is a command. A man who obeys his own commands is a man who is rebuilding. Write your aim. Speak it aloud. Visualize its fulfillment. Act toward it. Reflect nightly. Record it all. Then repeat. Do this, and you will no longer need to wonder if you are changing. The evidence will be written on the pages of your notebook, heard in the power of your voice, seen in the decisions of your day, and felt in the belief of your mind. A man is not defeated by others. He is defeated by the direction of his attention. Scattered thought is the root of spiritual weakness. A mind that drifts from aim to aim, desire to desire, voice to voice, cannot possess power, for power comes only from concentration. Just as the sun cannot ignite without a magnifying glass, your mind cannot create unless it is focused. Controlled attention is the principle by which the invisible becomes real, by which desire becomes discipline, and by which vague thought becomes tangible result. Controlled attention is the deliberate act of choosing where your thought lives. It is not occasional focus. It is not fleeting interest. It is the practice of holding your chief aim in front of consciousness throughout the entire day, no matter what arises, no matter what demands press upon you, no matter what distractions attempt to lure you. The man of power does not allow the world to dictate his focus. He dictates it himself. Your subconscious mind is not concerned with whether what you focus on is helpful or harmful, true or false, noble or petty. It only receives and obeys. It does not sort. It does not correct. It only accepts. And it accepts what is given attention repeatedly, emotionally, and with belief. That which you dwell upon becomes instruction. That which you entertain becomes identity. And so I tell you now, with the utmost gravity, what you allow your mind to dwell upon, your subconscious accepts as command. Let this truth settle into you. If you dwell upon fear, fear becomes your program. If you rehearse worry, your mind will believe it must worry. If you indulge distractions, your inner world will interpret aimlessness as your chosen state. And once the subconscious accepts these patterns, it will begin to reinforce them through ideas, feelings, and actions until they shape your life. But the man who trains his thought to return again and again to his chief aim, even when tempted, even when tired, even when discouraged, this man will develop the mental magnetism that bends all things toward his will. Controlled attention is how you build such magnetism. Controlled attention is how you make the invisible command real. John D. Rockefeller was a master of this principle. In the chaos of markets, under the weight of criticism, with voices all around predicting failure or collapse, he remained still. While others panicked, he focused. He did not react to the noise. He returned to his objective. His mind did not dwell on what others feared. It dwelled only on what moved him forward. And because of this discipline of thought, his empire stood while others crumbled. You must now become the Rockefeller of your own inner kingdom. Let every demand, every interruption, every attempt to scatter your focus be met with a return to your chief aim. Do not ask whether a thought is interesting. Ask whether it is useful. Do not ask whether distraction is popular. Ask whether it builds. If the answer is no, cast it out. Let no guest enter your mind unless it brings food for your purpose. Throughout the day, your attention will be tempted to wander. You will see things that do not concern your aim. You will hear opinions that do not align with your vision. You will be invited into arguments, gossip, complaints, and meaningless entertainment. These are the sirens that seek to pull your thought away from the treasure of concentration. Resist them as you would resist poison. Controlled attention does not mean you never think of anything else. It means your chief aim becomes the center of gravity. All other thoughts orbit it, not the other way around. Your purpose is the sun. Your day must revolve around it. Everything else must be evaluated by one standard. Does this help or hinder my mission? Practice this. When you wake, repeat your chief aim aloud. Hold it in your mind. As you go through your day, glance at it mentally. Return to it. Whisper it if you must. When you encounter distraction, pause and remember your aim. When doubt tries to speak, interrupt it with your affirmation. Let the mind, day by day, become more obedient. Let it learn to remain where you place it. Use physical reminders if you must. Carry your written aim with you. Post it on your wall. Keep it in your pocket. Let your surroundings reflect your direction. The man who surrounds himself with images of his purpose gives his mind fewer reasons to wander. Build a world around your aim, and your attention will find it easier to stay home. Understand this principle. Your outer world will always match your dominant thought. If you focus on failure, you will find failure in your results. If you think repeatedly of lack, you will experience lack. But if you center your attention on creation, progress, and fulfillment of your aim, your world will reflect it. You become what you think about, not occasionally, but habitually. Let me now give you a warning. The world does not reward a scattered man. The world rewards the man who has made his purpose more important than his distraction. The voice of the drifter says, "I can't help what I think." The voice of the builder says, "I train what I think." You must now be the builder. You must now command your thoughts with the same authority you command your words. If you entertain distractions and fear, you are not neutral. You are programming yourself to fail. Let no man deceive you. Every thought you dwell upon is a builder or a breaker. Every moment of mental drift is a vote cast for your old self. But every return to focus is a hammer blow against the wall of confusion. This is the price of clarity. Constant, repeated control of attention. Now say this affirmation aloud. Let it become your sword against wandering thought. I fix my thought only on what builds me. I do not allow my mind to entertain what I do not want. Speak it each time your mind tries to return to its old haunts. Speak it when temptation calls you into trivial pursuits. Speak it when doubt arises, and you must reclaim your mental ground. Controlled attention is not just a principle. It is a lifestyle. It is how you distinguish yourself from the masses. It is how you rise when others sink into distraction. It is how you build identity not from chance, but from design. You have your aim. You have your affirmation. Now train your attention to serve you, not just once a day, but throughout the day. Let the mind learn to stay. Let your energy return to purpose. Let your life reflect the order of your thought. Power is not found in scattered thought. It is found in directed thought. Thought placed where it belongs and kept there becomes force. Keep your thought on your chief aim, and your chief aim will become real. No man rises above the level of the voice he obeys most. And for the drifter, that voice is the echo of weakness, repeated so many times that it becomes identity. Before a man ever becomes strong, he must kill the voice of doubt and replace it with one that speaks with direction, authority, and decision. If you are to rebuild yourself in 14 days, you must silence the former master of your inner world and install a new one who speaks in your image, not your insecurity. Begin by taking a hard inventory of the phrases that presently define your inner speech. What do you tell yourself silently in the pauses of your day? I'm lost. I don't know what I want. I can't focus. I'm not like other people. I'm too late. I've tried before and failed. These phrases are not casual. They are chains. Each repetition digs the grave of your true power an inch deeper. Each time you utter them, aloud or within, you feed the subconscious belief that this is who you are. Now let me reveal to you something that every successful man has discovered. Identity is not found. It is installed. No one stumbles upon confidence. No man discovers strength by chance. They build it. They speak it. They declare it before the evidence appears. Edison, before the world called him genius, called himself an inventor, and persisted 10,000 times before the world agreed. Lincoln, before the nation called him leader, called himself faithful to cause and duty, and endured public loss after loss before he stood tall in victory. The weak wait for identity to be confirmed by the world. The strong decide it internally, then demand that the world rearrange itself accordingly. That is how you must now operate. If you have spent years reinforcing the old phrases of doubt, then you must now spend these next days constructing new ones, statements of certainty that will replace the former mental rhythm. Identity is not a mood. It is a decision, backed by repetition and action. I now instruct you to perform a deliberate act of recreation. Take pen and paper and list every phrase of weakness you've allowed to live in your mind. Write each one. Look at it. Then one by one strike them through with your pen. Read them aloud and declare, "This is no longer my voice." When you finish, burn the page. Watch it turn to ash. You are burying the man who spoke these lies. He is gone. Now take a new sheet. Begin to write a script of your new self. Each sentence must begin with the words, "I am the type of person who..." This phrase is powerful because it speaks not of temporary action, but of permanent nature. It does not say, "I try to," or "I want to," or "I hope to." It says, "I am." And what a man says he is, with emotion and consistency, his mind will become. Your new script may contain such declarations as, "I am the type of person who acts in spite of fear. I am the type of person who finishes what he starts. I am the type of person who moves with purpose. I am the type of person who speaks belief into himself daily. I am the type of person who does not consult the past for permission." These are not affirmations for decoration. These are commands for transformation. You must speak them daily, aloud, with the full force of your chest. Do it when you rise. Do it when you waver. Do it when you win and when you fail. Every repetition of your new identity weakens the old rhythm. Every declaration adds another brick to the fortress of who you are becoming. You may feel resistance. You may say, "But I do not feel like this man yet." That is precisely the point. You are not describing your present. You are deciding your future. The subconscious mind does not require truth. It requires repetition. What you repeat with emotion, it installs as truth. And once installed, it begins to shape your thoughts, choices, energy, and results until your outer world mirrors the voice you planted within. Understand, Edison failed more than any man of his era. Yet never once did he call himself a failure. He said, "I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that will not work." That was his identity. And because he refused to call himself defeated, he could not be defeated. Lincoln suffered humiliating political loss after loss, and yet he called himself a servant of the people, a preserver of the Union. That was his identity. And because he repeated it through action and resolve, it became fact. Do you not see the pattern? The men you admire did not wait for the world to speak for them. They spoke for themselves, repeatedly, relentlessly, until the world had no choice but to agree. You must do the same. Stop seeking external validation. Stop waiting to be told who you are. You are who you decide to be, and that decision is made daily with the words you repeat and the actions you reinforce. Let me be clear, this will not work if done once. This must become your ritual. Identity must be recited. Identity must be written. Identity must be heard in your own voice. That is why I say, read your script aloud every morning and every night. Do not deviate. Do not excuse. Let these repetitions rebuild your mental blueprint. You are recoding your internal belief system. And once belief is installed, the outer world must conform. Write your script, 10 sentences, each one a declaration of identity. Keep it in your notebook. Read it with fire. Read it as though you are meeting the man you are becoming. And with each day, your actions will begin to align. You will walk with more decision. You will move with greater energy. You will say no to what once distracted you. You will say yes to what moves your aim forward. Do not underestimate this part of your transformation. Many men speak their aims, but never change their identity. They pursue a goal with the voice of a failure. They walk toward success with the posture of hesitation. They whisper hope when they should speak decision. But you will not make that mistake. You will become the man who says, I act now, I command now, I become now. Now stand, as you've done before, and speak your first new identity line. I am the type of person who acts in spite of fear. Say it again. I am the type of person who acts in spite of fear. Say it until your blood believes you. Say it until your voice drowns out every old whisper. Say it until your posture rises and your action matches the words. Then speak the next. Then the next. Complete your script. Repeat it daily. This is the death of doubt. This is the birth of you. Identity is not found. It is installed. Greatness does not belong to the gifted. It belongs to the persistent. It is not the man who begins with brilliance that finishes with glory, but the man who endures beyond resistance, who acts through discouragement, who advances when all logic says to wait. Persistence is the cement that binds every principle you have learned. Without it, all else collapses. Without it, your aim becomes a fading spark. With it, that same aim becomes a roaring fire that burns through every obstacle. Let us define it plainly. Persistence is a state of mind forged through habit and faith. It is not born of convenience or mood. It is built by repeated action, cemented by belief in your definite chief aim, and sustained by the refusal to allow temporary defeat to mean final failure. It is the condition of thought that makes a man immune to discouragement and indifferent to delay. It is the element that makes an ordinary man unstoppable. Most men surrender at the first sign of resistance. They interpret friction as a warning. They hear a no and call it fate. They meet delay and assume denial. But those who persist see resistance as confirmation. They know that delay is the enemy's last weapon, that doubt is a test of will, and that failure is only fatal to the man who agrees with it. The persistent man does not ask whether he should continue. He already decided. He moves because he must, and that is why the world yields to him. Let me remind you of the story of R.U. Darby and his uncle, the gold prospectors who found a vein of precious ore and purchased machinery to extract it. After some time, the vein disappeared. They drilled further, found nothing, and gave up. They sold their equipment to a junk man. That junk man, however, called in a mining engineer. The expert examined the area and discovered that the vein of gold still existed, just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. The junk man struck a fortune because he persisted where others paused. 3 feet. That was the difference between defeat and destiny. 3 feet of belief, 3 feet of endurance, 3 feet of refusal to quit. And yet most men, when faced with a wall, stop and turn back, never realizing that the treasure lies just beyond their resistance. They retreat, not because they are defeated, but because they have not been trained to persist. The principle is clear. Every act of persistence installs more belief. Every retreat installs more fear. The subconscious is always watching. When you act, even in fatigue, it records strength. When you retreat, it records doubt. That is why some men grow stronger with time, while others grow more uncertain. The difference is not talent. The difference is repetition, under pressure. Your 14-day journey is the proving ground of this principle. You have made declarations, you have spoken affirmations, you have written your chief aim. But now resistance will appear. You will feel tired. You will be tempted to skip a day. You may wonder if it is working. And here, at this junction, you will be asked the unspoken question, will you persist or will you pause? Understand this. Resistance is not a sign you are failing. It is a sign you are growing. The body resists new muscle. The mind resists new thought. The subconscious resists new identity. But the persistent man does not wait for agreement. He moves forward anyway. And when he does, the resistance begins to fade. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once felt heavy becomes light. But this shift only belongs to the man who keeps going. You must decide now, before the fatigue arrives, that you will persist, that you will complete every repetition, that you will speak every affirmation, that you will act toward your aim every day without excuse, without exception. You are not doing this to impress anyone. You are doing this to install belief, and belief cannot be installed by those who retreat. The 14-day journey is not about perfection. It is about pattern. Each day you show up, you teach your subconscious. This is who I am now. I act regardless of mood. I move regardless of delay. I finish what I begin. And the longer you keep this pattern alive, the stronger the rhythm becomes. Soon, your mind will no longer ask, can I do this? It will ask only, what must I do next? Let me remind you of Edison again. 10,000 failed attempts at creating the electric light, 10,000 reasons to quit, but he did not. Why? Because he had decided in advance that he would persist. He had trained himself to see failure as feedback. He had refused to speak the language of surrender. And because of that persistence, the world now lives in his light. Lincoln, too, faced obstacle after obstacle, defeated in elections, laughed at in debates, surrounded by critics. Yet he persisted. He did not retreat to safety. He moved forward through pain. And that is why his name is remembered, not because he succeeded immediately, but because he did not stop. Now you must become the same. You must understand that any man can act once, but only the great persist until the work is done. Let others admire your intention. Let them talk of your ideas. You must be known for something rarer, your unbreakable consistency. Write these words down. Repeat them. Install them into your being. I persist when others pause. I grow through repetition. I finish what I begin. I do not retreat. Say it again. I persist when others pause. I grow through repetition. I finish what I begin. I do not retreat. Let this be your daily armor. Let it be your shield against temptation, against fatigue, against the voice that says, just take a break. You are not here to rest. You are here to rebuild. And rebuilding requires persistence, even when progress is not visible. The harvest comes not to the man who plants once, but to the man who waters daily, in drought and in rain. Let your persistence be sacred. Let it be untouchable. Let no voice, no mood, no delay cause you to question your vow. The man who outlasts resistance wins, not by accident, by repetition. And remember, every act of persistence builds your next act of persistence. You are not simply surviving today. You are building the man who cannot be shaken tomorrow. So move, repeat, act, affirm, continue. You are not the man who gives up. You are the man who finishes what he begins. No man rises beyond the quality of his thought. If your thinking is vague, your results will be scattered. If your thinking is emotional, your direction will be erratic. If your thinking is borrowed, your future will belong to others. Thought is not something to be passively received. It is to be examined, directed, and commanded. The man who refuses to discipline his thinking cannot discipline his results. And if you are rebuilding yourself, then you must begin with the blueprint, accurate thought. Accurate thinking is the foundation upon which every sound philosophy of success is constructed. It is the habit of questioning your thoughts before believing them, separating fact from opinion, reality from reaction, purpose from preference. The drifter thinks impulsively, speaks emotionally, and believes uncritically. The builder thinks deliberately, speaks with precision, and examines what enters his mind as a guard examines the gate. You must now become such a man. From this moment on, your thoughts are not automatic. They are subject to review. You are no longer a servant of every voice within. You are now the judge. And the daily courtroom of your mind must be ruled by accurate thinking, not sentiment, fear, or reaction. To do this, I give you a tool of transformation, the daily audit. Each night before you sleep, take your notebook and ask yourself 3 questions. Write your answers. Do not assume, record. Do not generalize, be specific. This is not a diary of feelings. This is an accounting of results. 1. Did my actions today reflect my definite chief aim? This is the measure of progress. If your behavior does not match your aim is still a wish. Every action you take either confirms your identity or contradicts it. If you acted in alignment, note how. If you did not, note why, and decide what must change tomorrow. 2. Did my thoughts today serve my chief aim or sabotage it? Here is where accurate thinking begins. Examine your dominant thoughts. Did you dwell on fear, distraction, resentment, or confusion? Or did you maintain clarity, belief, and purpose? Thoughts leave evidence in how you feel and act. Trace them back. Identify the ones that must be corrected. 3. Did my speech support or weaken the man I am becoming? The words you speak are affirmations, whether you intend them to be or not. Every time you say, I can't, I'm tired, I'm not sure, you train your mind to believe it. But when you speak as the man you are becoming, I will, I do, I decide, your mind adapts to that command. Audit your speech daily. Make your voice match your vision. This audit will become one of your most powerful tools. For most men drift because they never stop to examine their course. They simply assume that movement means progress. But not all motion leads forward. You must be willing to pause, to reflect, to correct. The man who looks back with honesty can always step forward with power. And now I must warn you, doubt does not always shout. It often disguises itself as logic. It says, be realistic. It says, this is probably too much. It says, most people don't succeed like this. It speaks with the tone of concern, but it carries the poison of delay. You must be able to discern its disguise. The only cure for this is the separation of facts from opinions. Most of what you hear, think, and repeat is opinion, unexamined, untested, often rooted in fear or weakness. But facts are few. Facts can be proved, measured, traced. Your job each day is to identify what is true, not what is popular, not what is emotional, not what is loud. Truth is the foundation. If you do not build on it, you will fall. Ask yourself during your audit, is this belief based on experience or emotion? Did I assume this because others said it or because I tested it? For example, if you catch yourself thinking, this is taking too long, ask, compared to what? Based on what standard? You will often find that your mind is echoing voices that are not your own, voices of fear, of the past, of the unaccomplished. And once you see this, you can replace them. Let us take example from the giants. Andrew Carnegie did not build his empire by following every opinion. He surrounded himself with men who thought accurately, men who would challenge ideas with reason, who would cut through noise to uncover principle. He once said that he paid men not for their labor, but for their ability to think. and he made decisions not based on mood, but on clear, examined information. Edison, too, relied not on emotion, but on observation. After every failure, he adjusted. He did not interpret failure as a message about his worth. He interpreted it as data. That is accurate thinking. He did not say, "I'm not good enough." He said that approach did not work. He did not confuse the outcome with his identity, and because of that, he could persist until light emerged. You must adopt the same mental frame. The man who audits himself becomes master of himself. The man who adjusts quickly climbs rapidly, but the man who refuses to examine his own thoughts becomes a prisoner of them. And no success can be built on a mind still ruled by unchecked error. Let me give you your affirmation for this discipline. Say it aloud, write it in your notebook. Let it become the standard of your evening review. I think with clarity. I separate truth from noise. I correct myself daily and rise stronger every time. Repeat it again. I think with clarity. I separate truth from noise. I correct myself daily and rise stronger every time. You are not here to avoid error. You are here to correct it quickly. That is what separates the builder from the drifter. The drifter justifies his patterns. The builder refines them. Your mind is the instrument by which your future is created. If it is not tuned daily, it will fall out of alignment. The daily audit is how you sharpen it. It is how you steer the ship. It is how you ensure that every action, every word, and every thought supports the man you are becoming. From this day forward, let no evening pass without reflection. Do not lie to yourself. Do not excuse yourself. Speak the truth to yourself, and then correct. The world belongs to the man who corrects quickly. If you have walked with me through these 14 days, if you have written your chief aim, spoken it aloud, acted toward it daily, disciplined your thought, examined your identity, persisted under resistance, and audited your thinking, then you are not the same man who began this journey. That man is gone, buried in repetition, dissolved in decision. You are no longer a wanderer of thought. You are now a builder, a commander, a definer of identity, a man who has remembered what it means to decide. You may not see it fully in the mirror yet, but make no mistake. The structure of a new self has been formed. The foundation has been poured. The lines have been drawn. The power that once lay dormant in you has now been awakened. You have proven, not to the world but to yourself, that you are capable of discipline, of repetition, of directed emotion and focused thought. And with that, I now give you the most important command of all. Burn the bridge. Burn the bridge to the old you, the man who waited, who hoped, who doubted, who apologized for his desires. That man no longer has permission to speak for you. You are not allowed to say, "I'm trying." You are not allowed to say, "I feel lost." You are not allowed to whisper someday. From this day forward, you say one thing only: I decide. You are no longer in the realm of guessing. You are now a man of intention. You are no longer searching for who you are. You are declaring it. And to seal that declaration, I now give you one final instruction, the same that I followed. Name your new self. Just as I discovered and spoke with what I called my other self, the inner presence that rose above fear, doubt, and hesitation, you must now name the man you have become. Do not choose a name of convenience. Choose a name of power, a title that speaks to who you have chosen to be, a phrase that captures your chief aim, your spirit, your decision. Write it down. Speak to it. Speak from it. Each morning you rise as him. Each evening you audit as him. Each decision, each action, each word must pass through that identity. You no longer act for the man you were. You act for the man you declared. This is how you keep the transformation alive. This is how you do not return to the past. You must now live as though that bridge no longer exists, because it doesn't. Let me be clear. These last 14 days were not a challenge. They were a consecration. You have not completed a course. You have commenced a new way of being. What you have done must not stop. It must continue. These disciplines are no longer practices. They are your way of life. Morning affirmation, visualization, purposeful action, daily audit. These are now your tools, your rituals, your weapons. Keep them sharp. You have seen the power of repetition. You have tasted the clarity that comes from definite purpose. You have felt the shift that happens when identity is spoken and reinforced. Now your task is singular. Continue. Let no day pass where the mind drifts aimlessly. Let no moment slip into hesitation. Let no voice be louder than your own. This is no longer about achievement alone. It is about becoming the man who does not need to ask, "What should I do?" because he already knows. Let me speak to you now as plainly as I ever have. You do not need more time. You do not need more knowledge. You do not need another book or another plan. You need only more decision. Success does not come to those who know, it comes to those who act. It is not the thinker who climbs the mountain. It is the doer. Do not die a thinker. Become a doer. The world is full of men who know what they want but never become what they must. They wait, they debate, they study, they drift, and they are forgotten. But the man who decides, who moves, who disciplines his mind and directs his days with fire, that man becomes remembered. That man becomes respected. That man becomes real. You are now that man, if you choose to be. Repeat this final affirmation. Let it seal the new structure you have built. Let it become the rhythm of your rising. From this day forward, I think with power, I move with certainty. I build my aim into reality, and I will never again call myself lost. Say it again. From this day forward, I think with power. I move with certainty. I build my aim into reality, and I will never again call myself lost. This is no longer a statement of hope. This is now a declaration of identity. Let the others continue searching. Let the doubters wait for signs. Let the critics speak. You have chosen to build. You have chosen to decide. You have chosen to become. And no man can take that from you because you gave it to yourself.